Alright, Cam. Just a simple pass back to the keeper. I've got this.
Uh-oh.
Ah, safe hands, mate. Knew you always had it. Hey there everyone, welcome to a brand new series on my channel. We're going to be calling this 433 and we're going to discuss everything that happened in the world of football over the past week. So diving right on in, the big stories of the past week is that the Champions League has returned, finally, with a good game. Good few games there was. There was a Liverpool-Leipzig game and Barcelona-PSG. I think they were the opening games. So let's start off with the Liverpool game. Liverpool came back after losing 3-1 to Leicester and 4-1 to Man City. They came back in this game looking pretty good. They had a decent run of play in the game. They ended up winning 2-0, Salah scoring in the 53rd minute and Mane scoring in the 58th. Now there was also a 60-yard effort from left-back Andrew Robertson, who left goalkeeper Peter Galassi not covering himself in glory, being stuck in the net, looking like he just had a horrible weekend. There's nothing much else to really speak about in that game, so we'll move on to the biggest kind of headliner game, which was the Barcelona-PSG game, which ended up Barcelona 1, PSG 4, and it almost seemed like it was a passing of the torch from Messi to Kylian Mbappe. Of course, there was an Mbappe hat-trick, and he left Gerard Piqué looking like this. I think Messi scored the opening goal in this game with a penalty, but nothing much else to speak of in that game. Barcelona are not in a good state at the moment. In other PSG news, Neymar's injured again, and his sister's birthday's coming up. Who would have seen that coming? In other news, probably the most exciting game of the week, and it was really not expected to be, was Royal Antwerp 3, Rangers 4. This was a real test of character for the Glasgow Giants. The referee had a horrible game. He awarded a yellow card to left-back Borna Barisic, which was never a foul in the first place. He ended up awarding 4 additional minutes at the end of the first half, which turned into 8 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Somehow, there was a penalty given, which everyone thought, oh, there's VAR, the decision's going to be overturned, never a penalty, the slightest of contact, not enough to make him go down. But no, VAR gave it as a penalty, so that was frustrating. There was basically every time an Antwerp player went down, there was a free kick given, but no matter, as there were 4 fantastic Rangers goals. The first one, the goalkeeper comes out, tries to collect a long pass touched in by Kemar Roof, but he ends up palming it into the path of Morelos, flicks it in for Joe Aribo, and he hits it into an empty net from outside the box. Decent finish. Then there was a penalty in the second half, scored by Barisic, won by Morelos. Blatant shirt pulling, had to go to VAR, and it awarded it as a penalty. And Ryan Kent really shows his class, scores a brilliant goal with a 1-2 with Morelos, get into the box, puts it in the far corner, brilliant. And then in the 90th minute, Borna Barisic scores another penalty for handball, and the player was sent off, which means he'll miss the next Europa League game at Ibrox. Basically, in the first half, Rangers were just crossing Inshallah merchants. Like, there's nothing really they did in the first half that was really impressive, but the second half, big test of character, and they came out very, very well. Now, another game is the Man City Spurs game. Ended up 3-0 to Man City. Rodri scored a penalty, and there were 2 goals from Ilkay Gundogan, and it was Gundogan initially that won the penalty for Rodri. City had 61% possession in that game. They're 10 points clear of United, who are sitting in second. I mean, Man City are going to win the league. There's nothing much about that can be done. Spurs actually went closest first. They had a free kick from Harry Kane that hit the woodwork very early on. So we've already spoke about one Liverpool game that was a 2-0 scoreline. Let's talk about another Liverpool game that was a 2-0 scoreline. Liverpool 0, Everton 2. This is the first time Everton have won at Anfield since 1999, which is a staggering figure considering the amount of Merseyside derbies there is a year. Richarlison scored first with a 3-minute goal. I think it was Everton's first attack of the game, and Liverpool just looked slow, like they looked shell-shocked for how quickly Everton burst onto the scene, came out the gates, all guns blazing. Then there was a penalty in the 83rd minute, tucked away by Gylfi Sigurdsson. I never thought it was a penalty on first viewing, and I still don't think it is a penalty. Trent Alexander-Arnold kind of goes down under a little bit of pressure from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He kind of goes down, Calvert-Lewin kind of has his shot, and then Calvert-Lewin falls over Trent, who's on the ground. He could have easily avoided it by just stopping running, but no, Calvert-Lewin kept going, and he fell over Alexander-Arnold and won a penalty for Everton. Another game which I actually really enjoyed was Arsenal 4, Leeds 2. And I like watching Leeds play, but if I was to pick any Premier League team to watch regularly, it would be Arsenal. Purely because of the way that they can play when they're on top form, not the way that they play when they're getting beat by low teams like Fulham, and yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, Aubameyang has scored his first ever Premier League hat-trick, which is a weird figure. He's been here for 3 years almost, and that's him just scored a hat-trick. And he's been close to winning the Golden Boot a few times. Unbelievable how he's never had a hat-trick before. But anyway, Arsenal actually went 4-0 up in this game. They went 4-0 up in the 47th minute, thanks to that final Aubameyang goal. There was also a goal from Hector Bellerin in the 45th minute, which is weird to see him notching up with one, but a bit nostalgic at the same time of the 2015-16 season. Arsenal again, shaky defence. It's not that great. They really need an experienced centre-back, and with the recent news of Socrates Papastathopoulos leaving Arsenal, they're basically just stuck with David Luiz at the back, which it's not really a good sign. But I mean, they've got the young players coming through who I'm sure will be good in time, but they do need an experienced head in there. Another game was the Piemonte Calcio, Juventus 1, Porto 2. And I said Piemonte Calcio because they basically played like a B-Tech Juventus.
Ooh, you're hard.
This full game. So there was an early goal from Porto in the first half, just over a minute I think it was. And then there was an early second half goal from Porto under a minute, which seals the victory. However, in the dying minutes of this game with Juventus 2-1 down, I think it was actually the last few seconds of the game, there was very, very loud penalty claims from the Juventus players, and most of all Cristiano Ronaldo, who was a player that, in my personal opinion, he was fouled in the box. He was pulled down. The penalty wasn't given. The VAR check ruled it out. It was no penalty according to VAR. But in my opinion, I did think that was a penalty. He was fouled. He was pulled down. But I mean, if there's anything that we can really take from this game, it's that
if I speak, I am in big trouble.
Rangers beat Porto, and now we're officially better than Juventus.
In big trouble.
But anyway, speaking of Rangers, there has been some upsetting news and very angering news that came out this week, which is 5 of Rangers players were breaching COVID rules. Among the 5, I think there was one of the boys was on loan, and one of the boys is like a backup keeper. But the 3 main players involved was 28-year-old Zungu, the CDM, who's on loan right now, and 2 future stars at Rangers, and Calvin Bassey and potential future captain Nathan Patterson. And they've really put a downer on Rangers' potential title win. I can't see Celtic coming back and getting this. But if there were any more action taken on Patterson, Bassey, Zungu and the other two. There could have even been a points deduction, or the football season could have been stopped entirely, going by what Nicola Sturgeon said last time when a player broke COVID rules, and it was a Celtic player. I think it was Bolingoli when he went to Spain. And they were like, this is a yellow card, the next time it will be a red, so the season would be suspended. But also they've kind of affected their own careers here, because the last time players broke COVID regulations, it was Edmondson and Jordan Jones. And they were loaned out. Jordan Jones has been loaned to Sunderland and Edmondson's been loaned to Derby. So they're both out. I don't think they'll ever play for Rangers again, but yeah, they've just put a damper on their own career. Speaking of dampers on careers, this weird thing happened in a Liga NOS game between Porto and Braga, where a player has gone down injured and an ambulance has had to come onto the field to get him off. And the players are actually pushing the ambulance. And it is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It looks like a Sunday League moment.
Esta é uma imagem que fica. Tínhamos dito que seria jogo emocionante e olha, de facto, esta imagem vale milhões de palavras que eu posso dizer, mas isto é caricato.
Anyway, that is it for this inaugural episode of 433. Let me know what you guys think, and I would really like some feedback in the comments and what segments should be included. I'm open to doing a bunch of different things, like a UCL review specific section for just the UCL, and obviously this is heavily focused on Champions League and English League fixtures, and there's one Europa League game in there, but because I'm a little bit behind schedule with these games that I have, because I've been conceptualising this series for a bit, I am a little bit behind, so I'm filming this and recording this and getting this uploaded the same day as the Arsenal-Man City game. So my predictions for that game, I think Arsenal could cause an upset, but I'm going to go 2-1 City. But yeah, I'm behind on my games, but this will be a weekly thing, so I shouldn't be behind from now on. The Arsenal-Man City game will be touched on in next week's episode, which will go up either on a Saturday or a Sunday. It's going to be fun having that schedule to stick to, which is great, and I absolutely love researching all of this. So yeah, any sections that you want included or any feedback you have, please leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.